Hello, David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. Welcome back. It's a familiar face in front of you. I know you know this guy, but just in case, for those of you that don't, or maybe you were hit upon the head by a big object, Warren Ringham from Cue the Music Show, welcome back to the show.
Hello, hi David. How you
How have you
doing?
been? How have you been, man?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, I'm really good. Just very, very busy, as you know. Several months of working on this particular project that I've been working on, and yeah, just kind of reeling from it.
Well, that's exactly why I wanted to pull you on this. This was like one of your first breaks. You and I have, talked in kind of a spotted manner, but I didn't want to bother you too much because you have, I mean, truly gone into lockdown, but done something very special with you and your team's lockdown. And that's what this video is all about. And we're going to talk about it in a very expansive way, but there must have been something that happened months and months ago where you said to yourself, you know something, I'm going to offer something to the Bond community, an escape, a wonderful distraction. And they're going to be in the form of these lockdown sessions, these concerts. How was it all born? Where did the spark come from?
I think it came from a couple of different things coming together. The idea of expanding on songs and doing more and more cues was something that has always been there from the start of the band, but has gathered a lot more pace in the last few years when as we had more coverage in the Bond community, and more people have kind of shown an interest in the sort of medleys that we've done in the past, like Majesty's medley and View to a Kill medley and all of those. And so I started with the idea with this year we were going to have our largest ever theatre tour, and I was going to try and record a new cue on each concert. So, it might be Scaramanga's Funhouse on one, Hips Trip on another, and other cues from throughout the series, the ones that I thought we could do, and I thought that particularly our Cue the Music's followers would really enjoy. And then, of course, the whole thing came crashing down with the words that we shall not speak, that with the situation we find ourselves in. And literally overnight, everything got cancelled. We had trips to Monte Carlo, we had Belgium, a show in Belgium, 30 shows here, all cancelled. And so I was like, well, what are we going to do? Because I couldn't see and still can't see us being back in theatres for quite some time. And there was, I wanted to kind of keep our sort of output going, get the guys doing some work in the band, give them something to kind of do, even though we can't get together and play in public. And also, as you know, for the first part of the lockdown period, I was quite involved in a number of community activities. I was running some Bond quizzes. I was involved in a few of your online conventions. I ran a Bond girl chat, which was just really done just to kind of keep people's spirits up, because obviously I know the Bond girls from working with them with Cue the Music, and so I asked them if they would do it as a bit of a favor, really, just to kind of keep people's spirits up. So we did that, and we did a reunion of Majesty's 50th anniversary, which I think I've just about extracted every single ounce of enjoyment and sharing of that we can possibly have. So yeah, so then it was a case of what can we do, and I kind of foresaw a period, even before the government even sort of announced what they were going to do. I knew that we were going to sort of open things gradually, and I thought, well, it follows logic that there's going to come a point where they're going to expand the number of people that could be in one room, but we can't have an audience. So I thought, well, why don't I use that period when none of the musicians are going to be working, we won't be working, theatres will be empty, we can't have an audience in. Let's get in an empty theatre and record a ton of music, and I could put them out as online shows. And that's what we did. I mean, we did 100 different songs and cues over the period of 4 days, to release over the course of 12 concerts, roughly an hour in length, with comparing and little bonus features. So yeah, 12 unique concerts coming out, 6 this year, 6 next year, and that's where we're at with it.
Well, we're showing right now some clips and some images because I think people need to really fully visualize and think about this because you didn't just say to everybody, "All right, everybody jump on Zoom, get in your little Hollywood squares, and we'll play along and I'll sync it together." I mean, you had everybody get dressed to the nines, get on a stage. You had rolling cameras. I mean, this was a major production.
Yeah, it was a bit of a culmination of 16 years of me running Cue the Music, of all the knowledge and contacts and experience that I've had doing these, that we sort of rolled it all into one, including the post production, the mixing of the sound and the editing of the videos, with 17 cameras all told running. And if you think about it, 17 cameras running for about 8 hours a day for 4 days. I think I worked it out. Between all the cameras, we had 450 hours of footage. It was just the most crazy big project. The whole project, storage wise, on external hard drives, was 36 terabytes.
Oh my God.
So it's been mind blowing that to sort of to work on. But yeah, that's to say, it was kind of all those years of experience kind of built to this moment, really.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that because one of the things that it's almost a matter of clarification for people watching this as an observer. I mean, I've seen two of the concerts already. I had a sneak preview. I know people. That's all I got to tell you. Um, but I've seen them, and one of the things that people shouldn't think is, oh, okay, this is number one, a rehash. It's not a rehash. They are very unique cues. They really stand by themselves, but they also work in a very cohesive manner. But the other thing is, lest people think that this is quote unquote just concert, just music end to end. I talked to Warren after I saw the first one, and I said, Warren, these are like the best documentary of Bond music that I've ever seen. You have hosts, you have guests, you have celebrities, you have makings of, you have other composers come on interspersed with the music. I mean, it really is like a musical variety show. It's so much more than I expected. Were you surprised to hear that feedback?
Not surprised, because obviously I knew what I was putting together, but it's nice to see already that someone's recognized it, because you know obviously at the center of it all, I'm just a huge Bond fan, as everyone would have heard me say enough times, and it was about making this an experience more than just musicians on a screen. I mean, there's obviously more than half of every concert is just pure music of us on stage performing these fantastic cues, but then all around that, I wanted to make it like an experience. I mean, for a start, when you go and see a performance of Cue the Music, you get a compere, normally one of the Bond girls, and I normally write the scripts for those. So you've got the thread of the backstories behind the songs and little bits of information, a lot of them kind of lifted from John Burlingham's great Music of Bond book and all the things that I've picked up over the years. And then also there's a little bit of my injection of analysis of understanding how music works, so I'll kind of put that in there. So I wanted to kind of expand on that for these concerts. So you've got all of that, but then we kind of go up a level with that, because obviously then when it's a visual thing and it's something that people are watching, you can kind of bring in other little videos of us playing behind the scenes. We can have I can bring in little clips of the actual score being played, so you can actually see the notes, and hopefully explaining to the non-musician as well how these things are created. And I don't think it goes too deep that it becomes lecture-y. That was a little bit of a worry of mine, that people might go, oh, do you know what, there's too much talking. But I think the balance is just about, I hope so anyway, it's just about right. That's the feedback I've had anyway.
I'll tell you. So like I said, I've seen the On Her Majesty's Secret Service, but the latest one that I saw over wonderful 2 cups of coffee was the Live and Let Die. There's no fat on that whatsoever. I mean, literally, there's no fat. It moves like a Bond film. It's so quick and impactful. I want to be careful too in this video, because I don't want to spend the entire video gushing over the quality of it. The quality's there. This is not a GoPro, father of a 3-year-old child videotaping his band moment. The quality is of the highest nature. The music is amazing. It's a unique experience. The sound, you recognize the music, but it's different than anything you expected. But I want to also talk about something and focus on something. And a lot of people don't know this outside of the UK. There is something going on in your neck of the woods with artists,
Yeah.
and specifically in your group. And I want to talk about that because it does factor in to, I think, the why
Mm.
behind one of the reasons why you've done this. But what's happening with musicians right now?
Well, it's just a terrible time in our country. Our industry really has just been cut adrift, and just yeah, just I'm trying to think of the word to describe it really, but we are the forgotten industry. There's no support at all from the government. The other industries have had furlough schemes and loans and grants. Well, we've had access to loans, but loans, with loans, you're not really helping because all you're doing is just kicking the can down the road. You've still got to pay that back. But other industries are obviously having the furlough scheme. Well, most musicians are self-employed, so they're not entitled to that. A lot of them don't qualify for the sort of state handouts that we would call it, but they're so low that they're not really going to make a difference. So, I mean, a number of the musicians in my band have had to do things like get jobs in the supermarket, drive it, whatever they can really get to make ends meet. And of course, there's a lot of people trying to do that. So it's really hard to find work. And there's no performing. There's just nothing. And there's not going to be for a very, very long time. And you hear people comparing theatre to cinema, for example, but there really isn't a comparison, because with cinema, you can open the door and have 5 or 6 people in. You can show the film 10 times in a day, and really you've only got to pay someone to check the tickets and start up the projector screen. But with theatre, you've got musicians, you've got crew, you've got ushers, you've got ticket sales, you've got bar staff, you've got all the technicians behind in the actual theatre. Then there's the publicity of it. So most theatres, you've got to sell about 80% capacity just to break even. And a lot of the time with our theatre shows, we're either just around break even or just below. It's very, very hard to make money, especially of a show of our size and, dare I say it, quality. I mean, I've had producers approach me in the past with our show and say, look, we'd like to take you on, but you have to cut your costs. And the only way I could cut my costs is by cutting the quality. And I'm just not prepared to do that. And that more so than ever makes it harder, because now they're saying eventually when we open with socially distanced audiences, you're talking 30% capacity. It's just not viable. And I won't be putting my show into a theatre at that rate, because you just guarantee that we would lose money. So the future is very bleak at the moment. And then in the government in Parliament last week, they stood up and called our industry, quote, unviable. And then one of the news reporters was stood outside for one of the top TV news shows and called our industry low-skilled workers. Seriously, which didn't go down too well. There was an awful lot of tweets and things on my feed about that, as you can imagine. So yeah, and it's difficult because I think the trouble is that the general public have got so used to getting hold of music in such a easy way. Spotify is going to be the death of music if we're not careful, because I don't know if people are aware, but an artist, and this is any artist, gets like 0.001p for every play. So I think it's something like for a million plays you get about £3,000 or something like that. Now £3,000 sounds like a lot of money, but we're talking about a million plays.
Yeah,
it's crazy, and it's not sustainable. It isn't. And the thing is that I understand that it's easy for people to get music through Spotify and everything else, but they're not going to get any new music. People are going to stop making music. I know a lot of musicians that are sadly talking about leaving the industry because they don't feel there's any future in it.
Yeah. Well, I want to focus on that because I want to be very, very clear on this video that literally for the price of a Funko Pop, people can purchase a ticket and not only be entertained and have something very unique when we kind of are getting fed the same thing over and over. And we're happy to get fed the same thing over and over. We watch the same Bond films. We read the same books over and over again. You're offering something unique and different, but you're doing it to support individuals that are in truly dire straits right now. I mean,
Yeah.
this is not, and you said this, so I'm going to use your words. This is not the Bond community giving a handout. You're exchanging this for information. You're showing up to one of the Cue the Music Show's concert, and for the
Yeah.
price of a Funko Pop, and I keep coming back to those little wobbly toys because truly, you know, you're doing a humanitarian service, number one, and number two, you're helping somebody in the Bond community, somebodies, plural, and number three, you're getting unique entertainment. I mean, it really is the trifecta of doing something like this. And to me, Warren, it's a bit of a no-brainer.
Yeah, well, hopefully. I'd say, so as you say, it's basically people think of it like they're attending a concert virtually, you know. People ask me, oh, when are you going to put these on CDs and, you know, put it out Spotify or whatever? Well, probably not. Probably, I mean, if we do put it out, it will be years down the line. You know, this is about here and now. It's about people coming and attending concerts that we're putting on. It's not about, you know, making CDs or whatever. This is our 2020 tour. We should have been doing 30 theaters this year. We're not. So instead we're doing these concerts online, so that the community and our fan base and supporters can come and still see us. And at the same time, as you say, they're supporting us and supporting musicians at a time when there's really nothing else. And so it does have that double-edged sword, hopefully, where it's enjoyment for the watcher, but you're also, you know, you're supporting Cue the Music and keeping the guys going. And I also understand there's lots of people out there with real hardship at the moment. So, you know, I do understand that some people may be watching this going, well, it's all well and good, but we've got our own problems, and I completely understand that. And my thoughts and wishes to anyone watching this that's in just as bad in dire straits as the musicians, because there are other industries that are just as badly affected. I just feel like particularly in our one, it feels that no one's really listening. A lot of people shouting, all the musicians are shouting about it, but actually they're not doing anything about it in the UK.
Well, you're doing it. I mean, you're bootstrapping it. And, you know, the worst thing that we could do on this video is to talk a lot about what it is and not how to engage. So for people watching this, you know, they're like, all right, I'm in, I'm all in, you know, here are my chips. What do they do? Where do they go to purchase a ticket? How do they do it?
So it's pretty straightforward, actually. If you go to our website, cuethemusicshow.com, that's Q, the letter Q, the musicshow.com /the lockdown sessions. And if you can't remember all of it, just go to Cue the Music Show and look up, see the
or
show.
Or down here in the video, you can see the links. Just scroll down and you'll see it. There you go.
Excellent. You've done this before. And if you go there, and then it tells you all about the concerts, what you can see, gives you the full program, everything else, and then you can fill out a little form, send it in, and then I'll contact them directly and explain how it works. But it's very easy to view. You can view it anywhere. Some people have been watching it on their big screen TVs. It's on YouTube, but you can't access it without a ticket, so it's quite clever. You can't just get the link and then share it out to all your mates or whatever. You need to have the link in the email to be able to watch it, which you do through purchasing from myself. So that's how you do it.
What are the options? So you can buy a ticket to one concert or a season pass? How does that work?
Yeah, so at the moment, the first season's out this year. We've got 6 concerts. You can if you want to pick one, you can pick one of those. And then there's also 2 options for the full season. There's a sort of slightly more budget one where you just get access to watch it for one night, or there's like a deluxe one where you can watch it as many times as you want over the course of the next 3 months. But there's also some extra bonus features in there, including an amazing 100-page downloadable program, or you can view it online as well, but you can download it, which Ruben Wakeman and I did together. I mean, Ruben did a lot of the lion's share of the work, shall we say. I just provided all the Word documents and photos, and then he made it look amazing, as he always does. So yeah, so you get some extra stuff with the deluxe season ticket and early access as well. So rather than waiting, you can get straight in there, which is why a couple of people, well, while people are seeing the first two now, because they're ready and up and going.
You've really created a virtual cinema situation, because I know in the physical cinemas, if you're a patron of that, cinema theater, if you're a patron of that theater, you can buy a subscription booklet of different concerts for the season. And that's what you're talking about. You can go to an individual concert. You could say, I love Live and Let Die. I've got to watch the Live and Let Die or the David Arnold one. I'm all about David Arnold. But, if you want to enjoy the entire season, and I assume that there is probably somewhat of a savings if you get a whole season's worth versus individual.
Absolutely. Yeah. Both tickets, if you buy a season ticket, it's cheaper than buying 6 individuals. But what I've also done as well is I've set up a way, if people want to buy, say, 4 individuals to sort of spread out the cost, and then if they buy a 5th one, they can just drop me a mail and say, look, I've actually bought 5 now, and then I'll just give them the season ticket. So no one's going to buy 6 individual tickets. If someone wants to watch 1 or 2 and that's all they want to watch, that's fine. But if they buy 4 or 5, I'm just going to, obviously just going to give them the season ticket, because they'd have paid the same at that point.
You're a good man.
So it kind of gives people the option then, because money's not exactly flowing at the moment. So it's over the course of the next 3 months. So you can split the cost across 3 months if you want, and it's not a lot. It's £15 plus taxes per concert, and then the season tickets are £50 and £75 a ticket.
Yeah, and I think I want to call something out to all the viewers, because I think the perfect way that this will work is not just for this to exist within the Bond community, what we call the Bond community. Truly, the Bond community is a few thousand people, but I think this has the potential to go outside of that. So I'm going to ask the viewers something. Obviously, if you can get a ticket or a season pass, absolutely wonderful. You won't regret it. It's amazing. It'll exceed your expectation. I can almost promise you that. But if you can't do that, and Warren said it, these are hard times. What I'd love everybody to do is to share out the information about these concerts.
Yeah.
Copy and paste the link. We'll put the link below, and literally in your social channels, just say, hey, here's a great program from, Warren Ringham, Cue the Music Show. Just share it. It costs you $0. It is 10 seconds of time, but the more we tell people about this, and I know a lot of people watching this, you aren't so much Bond fans, you're clothing fans and you're accessory fans, or you're watch people out there. Share it out to the watch people. Share it out to those people who just enjoy music. The Bond is a nice little bonus, but they just might enjoy music. So that's the thing I'm asking people to do.
Yeah, and the other thing as well that's worth mentioning is that they can actually watch a whole, I think it's about an hour and a half long preview of the concerts, where I've taken one track from each of the concerts and put them on YouTube in like a preview show, which is free. You can just go onto our YouTube channel or Facebook page, and I think it's the top post, and you can just watch a whole preview concert and see what it's all about, and see hopefully some of the quality that you mentioned. Hopefully.
You give people a taste before they eat their meal. I like that. Little appetizer.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and there's some great tracks in there as well. Some really iconic cues, things like "Let's Go Get 'Em" and Backseat Drivers in there, "In-Flight Fight" from The Living Daylights. Just some brilliant cues. So much fun to play. I can't tell you what a joy it was to stand on stage and feel that music surrounding you like a blanket, coming out of you and all around you, rather than, it's one thing being in the audience and listening to that, and it's an amazing experience, but it's a very, very different experience when you're right in the heart of it. It's a really, especially as a Bond fan, I've been growing up with all this music and all these cues all my life. So that was just such a buzz. I couldn't sleep the nights between the sessions, when we were staying over in a hotel, and I couldn't sleep at all. I was so excited to get in and do this music. It was brilliant.
Yeah. Warren, I want to take that because you talked about emotion, and to kind of end this video, um, you said this was done over multiple days. When your final song ended, and you know that was the last one, was it emotional for the band?
Yeah, actually, it was. There was a number of reasons. I think we had such a buzz out of doing it. I think everyone really enjoyed it, really enjoyed the music, enjoyed the experience of being back together, because at that point no one had played together for 4 or 5 months. And one of the musicians later confessed that one of the girls was in the car outside and had a little cry in the car park, because she was like, this is probably the last time in 2020 I'm going to play.
Oh,
And we had a little WhatsApp group, and at least for a good few weeks afterwards, I think all of us were kind of going on occasionally going, oh, can't believe it's 2 weeks since we did that. It was just so much. I mean, it was brilliant. It was really just so much fun, and everybody was so well prepared. They turned up. It's a little bit like, you have something that you absolutely love, and when it's taken away from you, it's really, really hard to try and adjust to that life. And then to have that little 4-day period when we had it back and we were able to get back to doing what we love, it made you appreciate it so much more. And so I think that really comes out in the performances, because everybody's just so happy to be back doing that. And it's new music as well for us. A lot of preparation had to go in, and people having to learn their parts. And one of my trumpet players, he hadn't got his trumpet out of his box for about 3 months. He was like, as soon as the sessions came in, I gave him the dates, and he was pressing for about 4 or 5 hours every day just for this 4-day session, so that he was absolutely on top form. And boy, was he. But that was sort of the case across the band. So yeah, in long answer to your question, it was an incredibly emotional moment, and I'm still coming down from it. Actually, it was July the 22nd we finished. So what are we now?
oh my gosh.
2.5 months, and I still kind of look at the footage and think, oh, I wish we could do it again tomorrow. It was brilliant, really was.
You see some of that in a very significant way when I was watching the Live and Let Die session specifically. One of the songs finished, and before you cut, I saw everybody in the band kind of celebrate, but there was a guy, I guess is it tympanic or whatever? He raises his things like this, and he goes like this, and he was like cheering like Rocky. He was like celebrating, and I felt it. I could see him so clearly, and I'm like, every moment of this is celebrated. But I want to tell everybody watching this, time, money were put into this, but mostly heart and soul. And it really comes out. And I do hope people engage with this. The links are below. And Warren, hopefully during, the release of these sessions, maybe we'll do a couple live streams on Instagram and Facebook and things like that, and chat about them as the release. But let's keep the conversation going.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you very much for having me. And I hope that people will come and give it a shot. If start out with the free session on YouTube, have a look at it, and it will give you an idea. It's a little snippet from each concert, a track from each concert of what's to come. That's a good place to start. And then hopefully we'll see people coming and seeing the whole shows.
I love it. All right. Warren Ringham, Cue the Music Show. Thank you so much for being on the show again.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks for having me. Cheers, everybody.
And this has been David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. We'll see you and hear you real soon. Take care. Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to be up on the latest from the Bond Experience, just click on this subscribe and subscribe to our channel. You're going to get all the latest and greatest information, plus some exclusive content. And by the way, speaking of content, here's something especially for you, just because we know you. Talk to you soon.